How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to CNC Auto Works. Hope everyone's having a good day. I recently had a subscriber ask me if I could kind of explain what a crossover intake is on a Kawasaki V-twin. Everything that I'm going to be showing you today applies for the KFX 700, the 650 Prairies, the 700 brute forces, even the earlier 750 teryxes that were still carbureted. Any vforce setup that is carbureted. There used to be a company that actually made these, but there wasn't enough demand for them, so they went out of business. I mean, no demand. I'm not going to tear into my machines because they are together to show you exactly how it is, but I am going to explain to you how to do it and what the benefits are of doing it. I've actually got two of them here. The white one is the one I did first, and I actually used a piece of 1-inch conduit to connect the intakes to make the crossover, and it was a heck of a job. It was a little bit too big. I probably should have used 3/4. So when I actually did my black one, I did use a piece of 3/4 copper. It worked out a lot better. It's a lot easier. I'm going to try to get in here and kind of show you what it looks like on the bike, if I can actually video in there. And then I'm going to get to showing you exactly what I did. And I'm going to be telling you about the benefits of it, the pros, the cons. And I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of carb mods that you can do while you actually got it apart. Well, I couldn't get in there to video what they look like on the bike itself. But what we have here is the intake boots, and these are actually sitting on your bike like this, and they're kind of offset just a little bit. The front one is more to the left than the back one, and your carburetor set on top of this. These actually bolt to your head. Now, to make this crossover intake, what I did is I went ahead and pulled the puller apart, took the air box off, took the carburetors off, and I left these bolted to the head. And I'll kind of take a marker and kind of mark on this seam. You see this seam here? You're going to need what I use is a piece of 3/4 copper. And I kind of just put it on the middle of that seam. And I kind of mark around it with a marker. I don't go up too high, because you don't want to get up here where this clamps around your carburetor. I drop down about 1/4 inch from the lip. I mark around it. I do that on both of them. And the first set I done, I actually took a box cutter and just cut it out, but it looked like a shark. It kind of just took a chunk out of it. It wasn't very clean. On the second set I done, with the 3/4 copper, I actually had a step bit. I went to Harbor Freight and got a step bit, and I drilled me a little pilot hole with like an 1/8 inch bit in the center of where I wanted this copper pipe to be. And then I took my step bit and I went ahead and drilled it out. I drilled it to one size smaller, to where when I would put this copper pipe in there, it would be kind of hard and go ahead and seal around it. So after I got the holes drilled in both of these, what I did is I went ahead and bolted them back on. I had them bolted to the head, and then I went ahead and just got a rough measurement from the top of these, and then I cut my copper pipe however long that measurement is. It's been a while since I've done it. I forgot the measurements, but I just measured across there. I probably made it like 1/4 to 1/2 inch longer. I went ahead and cut my copper. And then what I done next is I went ahead and slid my copper in. I slid it past, I scooted it over, I slid it in the other one. I kind of equaled it out among both of these boots. Then after that, I went to a hardware store or parts store, and I actually got some silicone sealant that was gas resistant. You're gonna want to get gas resistant. And basically what I did is I just kind of wire brushed these, cleaned it all up. I put it between there. put the copper in between there, and I went ahead and put one little layer of silicone sealant around here. And then I let it dry for an entire 24 hours. And then I'd put a little more. And what I done is I built it up pretty thick to where it just all kind of molded and came together down the whole copper pipe. Where the whole copper pipe, I'd put a layer a day for 4 to 5 days, whatever you feel comfortable with, just so you don't have any air leaks, because you don't want this thing sucking dirt. When you're out there ripping in the dirt, you do not want this thing sucking dirt. So put enough silicone sealant on there, the gas resistant style, to where you don't have to worry about ever having a leak or anything like that, because you do not want this thing to suck dirt. Then after a few days, after the silicone's cured and you got several coats of silicone sealant on there, you're going to want to unbolt these boots. And the way the heads lay, this will just come right up out of there. And then what I did is I got a Dremel, or you can get a die grinder. I got a die grinder. You can use a Dremel. And where that pipe sticks through here on the inside, you're just going to want to grind that back to where that copper is even with this boot right here. You don't want to be able to catch on it or nothing like that. I just grind it down to where it's flush, where the air won't catch on any lip or anything. You just try to make this flow as good as possible after these are together. After all that sealant has cured, you can, these ain't going nowhere. So don't be afraid to get in there and kind of grind that copper back, because I had to straight cut mine in the beginning and it was stuck through. And then you can tell that this is an angle here. So you're gonna have like a, I don't know, probably a 35-degree angle in here to kind of grind that to. And then after you do that, I went ahead and put just a little sealant in here and just kind of made it smooth. So just a little extra protection. You don't have to if you're confident with what you got going on the outside. But that's basically how you make the boots, the crossover intake with these boots. I had these extra because when I did my first one on my first machine, it was basically brand new. I only had 13 hours on it, and I didn't want to mess them up at all. So I just bought a set of used boots, and I could have went ahead and used these because it worked perfectly, but it turns out I didn't. So now the advantages of doing this, excuse me, is when you have two cylinders running like that, and the carburetors are separate like this, you actually have to sync your carburetors. So each cylinder will run basically the same as the other. And the reason you sync your carburetors is because it's not really hard to do, but it's just a pain. You got to do it every so often. And you don't want one cylinder making more power and getting more fuel than the other cylinder, because it just runs really inefficient. So by doing this, you're allowing each cylinder to scavenge off of both carburetors. So if it wants extra fuel or extra air, these are connected now, so it can get all the extra fuel and air that each cylinder wants. And that's the good thing about doing this. You don't have to sync your carburetors anymore. You don't have to worry about one cylinder running more efficient than the other. That way they can both kind of just feed off of each other that way. Now the part of this whole thing I don't understand is once you tie this together, you figure with both carburetors being able to feed one cylinder, that you would have probably too much fuel and too much air, but it's actually just the opposite. The only bad thing is you really got to jet your carburetor up. I have an exhaust and a few other mods, so I went ahead and put the biggest jets I could find in mine. I think my front carburetor's got like a 194 and my back one's got a 198 main jet. And then factory auto jets or 40s, you're going to want to go up to 42. And then on your mixture screws, I usually screw them out anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5. Just a reminder on this jetting, yours may be different. I live at about 3,500 feet above sea level, and the DA is usually anywhere from 6,000 to 9,000, and mine tends to run pretty good. When I first did my first one, I actually drilled out some jets to 5/32, and it ran, but it was really, really rich. And then I drilled out some more to 3/32. Then I finally just bought the biggest ones possible. But that's basically how you do the crossover. And while you got your carburetors off, one mod that I like to do is clip the springs. I usually clip a coil to a coil and a half out of the slide springs. And then another thing you can do is actually polish your slides. And that helps a lot with your throttle response, makes it a lot snappier. And if you don't know what the slides and the slide spring is, once you get your air box off, there is 2 black caps that you can pull off, and then there's a vacuum diaphragm underneath that cap. You just lightly grab that diaphragm and pull it up. There is a like galvanized looking slide inside that carburetor, and you basically just get you a Dremel or something, sandpaper, and you'll polish that thing till it looks like a brand new set of billet wheels or a piece of chrome. And then when you hit the throttle and you clip that spring has less tension, and that slide's a lot slicker, so it really helps with your throttle response. It's really, really snappy if you do that. But while you're jetting it and all that, you might as well polish your slides and clip your springs. That's just a few little tricks that I learned having these Kawasaki V twins. None of this is my idea. There's a guy by the name of vforce John. He's big in the Kawasaki V-twin industry, and I believe he's the one that came up with all these mods, or he's the guy that I seen put it out there for all these mods, and they do work. And there's a few other things you can do, but I might save that for a different video. I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. I want to thank everybody for watching. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later.